Between 1957 and 1961, over 10,000 babies were born across 46 countries with a condition called focal-malia. Their arms and legs shortened or completely absent, little hands growing directly from their shoulders. The cause? A sleeping pill called thalidomide, marketed as completely safe for pregnant women. Germany saw 5,000 cases. Britain, thousands more. Australia, Japan, Canada, devastated. But one country was almost entirely spared. The United States had just 17 confirmed cases. The reason? One woman they called unreasonable. 1936, a young Canadian woman, then Frances Oldham, received a letter from the University of Chicago offering her a graduate position. It was addressed to Mr. Oldham. The professor had assumed Frances was a man's name. She could have corrected the mistake. Instead, she accepted the position and showed up anyway. By the time they realized their error, it was too late to turn back. She would earn both a PhD in pharmacology and a medical degree. Her doctoral research wasn't glamorous, but it was prophetic. Frances studied how quinine-like anti-malarial drugs affected rabbit embryos. She discovered something troubling. Drugs that seemed safe in adult animals could cause devastating harm to developing fetuses. The placental barrier wasn't the impenetrable wall everyone assumed. Some substances cross it easily. She published her findings in 1943, 17 years later. That knowledge would haunt her and save thousands. August 1960. Dr. Frances Kelsey joined the FDA as one of the only 7 doctors reviewing new drug applications. Her first assignment landed on her desk, Cavadon, a sleeping pill from Richardson Morrell Pharmaceutical Company. It was already approved and selling in 46 countries under the name Thalidomide. Doctors in Europe love it. The application was routine, should have been approved in 60 days. Her supervisor expected a quick rubber stamp. She opened the file and started reading. The safety data looked incomplete. Testimonials instead of rigorous clinical trials. Then she found it, buried in European medical journals. Reports of peripheral neuropathy. Patients taking thalidomide were developing nerve damage in their hands and feet. Tingling, numbness, sometimes permanent. The company insisted the drug was completely safe, even for pregnant women. But Kelsey remembered her rabbit studies. If this drug damaged nerves in adults, what was it doing to developing fetuses? She picked up her pen and wrote one word across the application: rejected. Richardson Merrill resubmitted with new data. She rejected again. Insufficient evidence. They submitted a third time. Rejected. Fourth time. Rejected. This wasn't personal. She simply wanted proof the drug was safe. Real proof. Clinical studies. Proper data. The company had made $200 million in Europe. The American market was worth even more. And one doctor in Washington kept saying no. 14 months. 6 rejections. More than 50 office visits from company representatives. Phone calls at work. Phone calls at home. They called her stubborn and unreasonable. A bureaucratic nitpicker. They brought in senior executives to pressure her. They went over her head, complaining to her supervisors that she was blocking a proven, safe medication. Her boss, Ralph Smith, could have overruled her. it would have been easier. Instead, he begged her completely. "You're the medical officer on this," he told her. "It's your decision." So she kept refusing. While Kelsey held the line in Washington, hospitals across Europe filled with tragedy. Mothers who had taken one sleeping pill, just one, during early pregnancy, their babies born without arms, without legs, tiny hands attached to shoulders, feet growing from hips. By late 1961, doctors were seeing hundreds of cases. A German pediatrician named Whitkin Lenz made the connection in November. The common factor, thalidomide. The drug was pulled from markets worldwide. 10,000 children. Some countries saw an entire generation affected. Germany alone had 5,000 cases. The United States had 17 confirmed cases, not 17,000. 17. Every one of them tragic, but a fraction of what it could have been. Richardson Merrill had illegally distributed thalidomide as samples to doctors across the country before FDA approval. Over 2 million tablets. But because Kelsey had delayed official approval, most doctors never prescribed it to pregnant patients. Without her obstinacy, estimates suggest thousands of American babies would have been born with the same horrific birth defects. August 7, 1962, President John F. Kennedy awarded Frances Kelsey the President's Award for Distinguished Federal Civilian Service. She was only the second woman ever to receive it. The ceremony made front-page news. For a brief moment, Americans knew her name. Congress, galvanized by the thalidomide crisis, passed the Kefauver-Harris Amendment unanimously. For the first time, drug companies would have to prove both safety and effectiveness before approval. The modern FDA was born. One woman's refusal had changed the law. Kelsey didn't retire after her moment of fame. She stayed at the FDA for 45 years total. She became director of the Office of Scientific Investigations, overseeing the implementation of the very laws her courage had inspired. She reviewed thousands more drugs, mentored generations of medical officers, told them that no was sometimes the most important word in medicine. She finally retired in 2005 at age 90. Still, most Americans had forgotten her name. August 6, 2015, London, Ontario. Frances Kelsey lay in a hospital bed at age 101. A governor entered her room carrying the Order of Canada, her country's highest civilian honor. They placed it in her hands. She died the next day, August 7th, exactly 53 years after Kennedy's award. The woman they call unreasonable for demanding proof, stubborn for trusting her instincts. She has saved a generation of children, and most of the world never knew her name. Until now.